All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to demystify one of the most important and honestly, most misunderstood concepts in all of trading, market volatility. We're going to take it from abstract theory and bring it all the way down to the practical decisions you make every single day. So let me ask you a question. What if you could take something as fuzzy as uncertainty or market fear and just put a number on it? What if you could actually quantify risk so you could make sharper, more calculated decisions? I mean, it sounds kind of like a superpower, doesn't it?
Well, that's pretty much exactly what we do in the financial markets. And that superpower, it's called volatility. It's the tool that lets us turn the chaotic noise of price swings into something we can actually measure and act on.
So let's start with the absolute basics. What exactly is market volatility? And more importantly, why is it probably the single most critical metric that you might not be paying enough attention to? At its core, it's actually pretty simple. Volatility is just a way to measure how much an asset's price jumps around. Think of it like the market's heartbeat on an EKG. A slow, steady pulse, that's low volatility. A crazy, erratic, all over the place pulse, you guessed it, that's high volatility. It's the closest thing we have to a real number for risk. To make this super clear, think of the old tortoise and the hare story. On one side, you've got your low volatility assets, like bonds. They're the tortoise, slow, steady, pretty predictable. On the other side, you've got high volatility assets, like crypto or penny stocks. They are absolutely the hare, with these huge, wild, unpredictable swings. So why should you care? Honestly, because it affects literally every single thing you do as a trader. How you assess risk, how many shares you decide to buy, where you put your stop loss, even what kind of strategy you should be running right now. It's the weather report for the market, telling you what conditions you're trading in. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Oh, great, here comes the math. But seriously, stick with me here. We're going to pull back the curtain on the formula, because once you see how it's calculated, you get a much, much better gut feeling for what it actually means. Now, before we even look at a single equation, this right here is the number one most important detail. It's a classic rookie mistake. We have to use log returns, not just simple percentages. Why? Because log returns are special. They deal with the effects of compounding perfectly, which makes our math way more accurate. The actual calculation is just something called standard deviation, and you can break it down into these 6 steps. You get your log returns for each day, you find the average, then you see how far each day's return strayed from that average. You square those distances, find their average, that's the variance, and then finally you take the square root of that. Boom, that's volatility. So let's make this real. Forget the theory for a second. Here are 5 days of returns for the SPY. We just follow the steps. We figure out the average return, and then for each day, we see how far off it was from that average. That's the deviation. Then we square it. See? We're just turning that abstract formula into actual concrete numbers. So after we run all those numbers, we get a daily volatility of just under 0.5%. But so what? Is that a lot? Is it a little? By itself, that number's kind of useless. To give it any meaning, to compare it to anything else, we have to do one more step. We have to annualize it. And the way we do that is super simple. We just take our daily volatility number and multiply it by the square root of 252. Why 252? Well, that's roughly how many days the market is open in a year. This just scales up our little daily number into a big, comparable yearly one. And just like that, our 0.497% daily volatility becomes a 7.89% annualized volatility. Now that's a number we can work with. We can compare that to other stocks, to its own history, and start making some smart decisions. So you can probably see why traders aren't sitting around doing this by hand every day. The real world moves way too fast. That's why we rely on more advanced methods that can keep up. Let's look at a couple of the most popular ones. So instead of using all of an asset's history, we can use what's called a rolling window, say just the last 20 days. But even better is something called EWMA. All you need to know is that EWMA is smarter. It gives more importance to what happened yesterday than what happened a month ago, which makes it way more responsive when things get crazy. Okay, now we get to the fun part. This is where it gets really, really powerful. We've got the numbers, we know where they come from, so how do we actually use this stuff to become better traders? This is the concept that changes everything. We can think of the market as having different personalities, or regimes, based on its volatility. When volatility is low, things are calm, choppy, and mean reverting strategies work great. But when volatility explodes, I'm talking 2008, I'm talking March 2020, the market doesn't chop, it trends, and it trends hard. In those times, trend following is the only game in town. Volatility tells you which game to play.
And this lets you build a real system for managing risk. So instead of just picking a random position size, you risk a fixed percent of your account, and you let the asset's volatility tell you how many shares to buy. And forget about arbitrary 5% stop losses. You can place your stop at, say, 2 times the current volatility. Now your trading is adapting to the market in real time. So knowing what to do is half the battle, but knowing what not to do is just as important. Let's quickly run through the most common traps people fall into so you can just step right over them. Mistake number 1, and we've hit this before, but it's worth repeating, using simple percentage returns. I get it, it seems easier, but it will always understate the true volatility because of that pesky compounding effect. Just remember, always use log returns. The next big pitfall is comparing apples to oranges. You see a daily volatility of 1.2% and a monthly volatility of 3.5%. Which one is riskier? You have no idea. You can't compare them until you put them on the same playing field. You have to annualize them to see the true picture. And finally, a really subtle but critical one, ignoring volatility clustering. It's just a fancy way of saying that wild days are usually followed by more wild days, calm follows calm. So if a crisis hits, using a long-term average volatility is like trying to drive a race car by only looking in the rearview mirror. It's way too slow. You need a responsive measure, like that 20-day window or EWMA we talked about. So let's wrap it all up. If you take anything away from this, let it be these things. 1. Volatility is the standard deviation of log returns. 2. Always annualize your numbers so you can compare them. 3. Use responsive measures like EWMA. 4. Adapt your trading. High vol means wider stops and smaller positions. And 5. Remember that volatility clusters.
Think about it. You now have a tool to literally measure the market's fear. You can put a number on uncertainty. You have the knowledge. The real question is, what are you going to do with it?